Hello and welcome back to another video. This is the 3SD episode of the story, in which Naruto is adopted by Uchiha clan. Hit like and subscribe buttons. Let's get this show on the road, shall we? A few weeks later, Team 7 gathered in their usual training grounds, awaiting the return of Kakashi from the mysterious assignment he had been on. The three Chunin had made considerable progress in their individual training and were wondering why Kakashi had called them together now. Does anyone know what business Kakashi-sensei was working on all this time? Asked Naruto as he carefully worked on his calligraphy. No, said Hinata softly, showing that she still needed to work on her shyness issues, but I did hear that all the other Jonin-sensei were busy as well. Said Sasuke as he did his sit-ups. I wonder what kind of assignment would require all of the Jonin-sensei to be pulled away from their students? A very good question, Sasuke-kun, said Kakashi, causing Naruto and Hinata to jump. Oh? I didn't startle you? After dealing with Izuka-sensei sneaking up on me on a daily basis, I've been desensitized, said Sasuke as he finished his workout and got to his feet. Well then, said Kakashi, while I'm not able to go into detail about the assignment I was on, I can however tell you that it involves an important event that is coming up, the chunin exams. This caught the attention of the three Chunin and they stopped what they were doing to listen to their sensei. Seeing that he had captured their interest, the Jonin gave a nice smile. Well, said Kakashi, if you three are in any way interested, I have some applications for you to fill out. If you three want to enter the exams, you'll need to have them filled out and brought to the academy building by tomorrow. Once Kakashi had handed out the three application forms, he smiled at them and vanished in a swirl of leaves, leaving his students there to think. Glancing at each other, Onyx, Lavender, and Blue Eyes met with determination. So? Said Naruto. Do you even need to ask? Smirked Sasuke. I think we can do this, said Hinata. Right, said Naruto, then how about we fill out these forms over some bowls of Ichiraku's ramen? You and your ramen, sighed Sasuke. I wouldn't mind a few bowls, said Hinata with a small smile. Count me out, said Sasuke with a huff as he turned to walk away. That's too bad, said Naruto with a smirk, caused two shojis and said he had perfected his new tomato ramen. Tomato? Asked Sasuke, stopping in his tracks. Tomato, said Naruto. I guess one bowl wouldn't hurt, said Sasuke. XX well, said Sasuke as he put down his third bowl. We're all in agreement then? That Ichiraku ramen is awesome? Asked Naruto, getting a slap across the head from his brother. Idiot, muttered Sasuke, I was talking about the chunin exams. We're gonna enter. Hell yeah, Nia-san, said Naruto, we're gonna show everyone how awesome we are at bio. I'll do the best I can, said Hinata. You'll do great, Hinata-kun, said Naruto with a grin, getting a blush from the girl. You three look happy, said Ayame as she walked up with the bill. So who gets the bad news? Sasuke turned to look at Naruto, only to find the seats where his adoptive brother and their female teammate had been sitting, now conveniently empty. Every time, grumbled Sasuke as he pulled out his wallet and began pulling out some Ryo. XX the next day, the three members of Team 7 arrived at the Shinobi Academy building to find Kakashi waiting for them, smiling behind his mask. I'm glad the three of you all came, said Kakashi. After all, the applications need to be delivered as a team, but that really wasn't going to be an issue for you three, was it? Hey, chuckled Naruto, as if we'd pass up a chance like this. That's the spirit, said Kakashi. Good luck team. Knock him dead. The three Chunin nodded and walked into the building, where they found a large group of fellow Chunin waiting. Several of which that were arguing with two chunin that were blocking the way to a room that had a sign for the chunin exams. Come on, grumbled a Chunin from Iwagakure, we just want to get inside and take the test. Sorry, said the chunin, but we were told not to allow entrance to this room. Hinata, said Sasuke, check the door with your Byakugan. Hinata nodded and she and Sasuke activated their Dujutsu for a brief second, causing their teammate to glance at them. Something wrong? Asked Naruto, causing Sasuke to tap the code for Genjutsu on Naruto's arm. Right, nodded the blonde, and the three of them continued on their path, heading up the stairs to the next floor of the building. Once there, they saw another group of Chunin waiting in the hall, with several of their classmates being among them. Sasuke-kun, exclaimed Sakura as she ran up, you're here. Out of the way, billboard brow, said Ino as she pushed the pink head aside. Sasuke-kun, remember me? Sakura, Ino, said Sasuke coolly, you're making a scene. Don't worry about them, said Shikamaru as he walked up with Choji, it's good to see you three. Yeah, said Kiba as he walked up with his silent teammate Shino. Ready to get your ass kicked, Naruto? As if, laughed Naruto, we're a whole lot stronger than we were before, Kiba. That seems doubtful, said a cold voice, causing the group to turn and see a trio of teens walking up, the one who spoke having the same eyes as Hinata. One cannot change the fact that they are fated to lose. Nay, he isn't, said Hinata softly. You know him, Hinata-kun? Asked Naruto. Hinata-sama, said Neji coolly, it seems you still haven't changed. How pitiful. Hey, leave her alone, team, growled Naruto. Humph, said Neji, I'll look forward to facing you in the exams. With that the teen turned on his heel and headed into the testing room, leaving his teammates outside. Sorry about that, said the female of the team, a girl wearing a pink Chinese dress with her hair done up in 2 buns. Neji takes some getting used to. I'm Tenten, by the way, and this is Lee. It is a pleasure to meet you, said Lee, especially you, Naruto-san. Why me? Asked Naruto. Because, said Lee, like me you are a true genius of hard work, forcing yourself to grow while the true geniuses succeed with natural talent. So you're saying that I'm one of those true geniuses? Asked Sasuke as he raised an eyebrow. I'll have you know that the 3 of us only got to this level because we worked ourselves to the bone in order to develop and refine our skills. Remember that the next time you spout that crap. I am truly sorry, said Lee with a bow. I promise that I will re-evaluate my views and judge everyone fairly. That was a most youthful answer, Uchiha-san. DCH, whatever, said Sasuke before turning to Tenten. Your teammates must give you no end of headaches. Just wait till you meet our sensei, muttered Tenten. If he isn't consistently late to every meeting and occasion by 2 hours minimum, then he can't be all bad, said Sasuke, getting a laugh from the girl, before she noticed the sword on the Uchiha's back. Where did you get that blade? Asked Tenten as she moved closer to examine it. You recognize it? Asked Sasuke. Of course, said Tenten, that's Kyuketsuki, a cursed sword from Kuma that is said to be on par with the blades wielded by Kiri's 7 swordsmen. How did you get a sword like this? We fought a shinobi that had it during one of our missions, said Sasuke. I took it after we beat him. Before Tenten could fawn over the sword anymore, a gruff man with a bandana and a black trench coat walked up with a scowl on his face. Okay, all of you inside or you'll be escorted out. The first exam is about to begin. The students filed inside where they were shown to their seats by chunin proctors. Each seat had a face-down paper on it and a pen next to said paper. My name is Aviki Morino, said the man, head of Konoha's torture and interrogation force, and I'll be in charge of you maggots for the duration of this exam. In front of you is the first phase of the chunin exam, a written set of questions designed to test your intelligence as a shinobi. You will have a set amount of time to finish, and when time is up, I will reveal the final question to you. In addition, all of you will be graded by teams, and will require a collective score of 20 in order to pass. Should you be caught cheating, you will be given 1 strike. 3 strikes, and your entire team will be forcibly escorted out of the building and you will be expelled from the exams. To further inhibit cheating, there are 3 different sets of questions for you lot to answer. The sheets in front of you each contain one of the 3 sets of questions and have been distributed at random, so peeking at your neighbor won't help. Good luck, you'll need it. Time starts now. All of the Jonin flipped over their tests and were greeted with a nasty shock. There are only 9 questions, thought Sasuke, and all of them are on subjects that weren't even touched upon in the academy. That means we each have to get a minimum of 7 questions right to guarantee us passing this test. Sasuke glanced around and noticed that several others had realized this and had started to panic. Okay, thought Sasuke, the proctor said that if we were caught cheating 3 times, we'd failed out, but why 3? Why not an immediate fail? Unless we're expected to cheat, and get away with it. Sasuke nodded to himself. This test was about gathering information, not about simple book smarts. If he could trust Hinata and Naruto to get that, then they'd pass with ease. Activating his Sharingan, Sasuke spotted a student that was breezing through the questions, and from a glimpse of his paper, their forms were the same. Using his dujutsu, he copied the man's body movements in order to write down his answers on his sheet. Glancing at Hinata, he saw that his teammate had also had a similar idea and had used her Byakugan to copy the answers from someone else's test as well. That only left Naruto. Looking at his adoptive brother, he saw that he was having a bit of a crisis and was struggling to answer the questions on the quiz. Deciding upon a plan, he stood up. Excuse me, may I go to the restroom? He asked. Sure, said Aviki, but one of the proctors will accompany you to make sure you're not cheating. Sasuke nodded and walked to the front of the room. catching Naruto's eye for a minute while activating his Sharingan for a brief second to relay his realization via Genjutsu, before leaving to use the facilities. Naruto nodded at this new information and, when Sasuke came back, asked to be excused as well. Once in a stall in the bathroom, he made a quick hand seal and created a single Kage Bunshin that had the Rinnegan active. He had found through his training with Jiraiya and the Kyuubi that he could share the vision of any of his clones that were using the Dojutsu while he had his active, and now he was going to put it to good use. Having his clone henge into a fly, he finished his business and headed back to his seat. Once there, he closed his eyes and activated his Dojutsu, seeing the world from his clone's eyes as it scanned all the other papers for the right answers. Once he found them, he copied them onto his paper and waited. While they were doing this, several other shinobi had found their own ways of gathering information. Ino used her clan's techniques to copy the answers from a fellow student's paper, Tenten used mirrors to check around the room, and a Junon from Suna even created an eye of sand to use to spy around. Several students weren't so lucky and they and their teams were forcibly expelled from the room as Ibiki tore up their papers to prevent others from looking at them. Finally, the scarred man called time and everyone put their pencils down. "Now," said Ibiki, "for the 10th question, you all have a choice. You can choose whether or not you want to answer it." Seeing several Junon look hopeful, he smirked. "Before you get all excited, let me explain the question. Should you choose to not answer the question, your exam will end here and you'll fail. However, if you choose to answer it and answer wrong, not only will you fail, but you will be forever banned from ever taking these exams again." This caused quite the uproar among the students. "That's not fair," yelled Kiba. "There are loads of Junon here that have taken the exams before." "Tough luck," said Ibiki. "My test. My rules. Now choose." Ibiki watched as several teams of Junon chose not to risk the final question and left the building sadly, and his smirk continued to grow. He loved these mind games and these kids were excellent meat. "Anyone else?" he asked. "This is bullshit," yelled Naruto as he stood up. "Are you trying to scare me or something? So what if I have to be a Junon for the rest of my life? I'll still be the greatest shinobi since the Yondaime Hokage Dadabayo. Nothing you can say will change that." Ibiki continued to smirk as he saw Naruto's outburst giving the other students more courage, allowing them to regain their nerve. "It was time to end it then." "In that case," said Ibiki, "it's time for the 10th question. All of you here. Pass." The room was silent for a moment as they tried to process what Ibiki just said, and when it finally sank in, the Junon were quite vocal about their confusion. "What the hell was that?" yelled Kiba. "What about the 10th question?" asked Akuza Shinobi. "There was no 10th question," said Ibiki. "Well, not in the same terms of the other 9, however." Seeing that the assembled Junon were still at a loss, the Jonin smirked and walked forward. "These exams are to test if you are ready to truly become chunin-level shinobi, and that requires more than book smarts and luck," said the man. "The first questions were there to simulate an environment where you would have to covertly gather information and where getting caught could mean death or worse. The 10th question was also important, but not in the same way as the others." Ibiki then removed his bandana, revealing a head covered in scars and signs that showed he had been tortured and injured several times over. The display made more than a few students flinch back. "There will be a time when you will be faced with a choice: complete a mission where you will almost certainly die, or run and save yourself," said Ibiki. "As chunin, you can't just choose to run and leave when the going gets tough. Your villagers will depend on you, and you can't let them down just because you're scared. You will face these scenarios as chunin, and the way you face them shows your strength. I encourage you to push forward in the tests to come." Suddenly, the window on the wall shattered as a large object smashed through before unfurling to reveal a banner that was quickly pinned to the wall by several kunai, revealing an attractive kunoichi wearing a trench coat over a mesh shirt and a miniskirt, with her purple hair tied up in a pineapple style. She was leaning against the banner that read, "The Sexy Exam Proctor Anko Mitarashi." "Alright you maggots," said the woman, "get ready because it's time for the second phase of the chunin exams." "Anko," sighed Ibiki as he replaced his bandana, "you're early." "Whatever Ibiki," chuckled the special Jonin as she looked over the assembled Junon. 36 brats left? You're getting soft if you're letting this many through." "Maybe," said Ibiki, "or maybe the sponge is made of tougher stuff than the usual lot." "Hey," chuckled Anko, "I'll thin the herd before soon enough. Follow me everyone. We're gonna get the next exam underway." Scene XX. The Junon were led to a large forest that was fenced off with signs warning people about the dangers within, along with the sounds of fearsome animal echoing through the gates. "Welcome to the location of the second phase of the chunin exams," said Anko. "Training Ground 44, also known as the Forest of Death. The gathered Junon glanced fearfully at the forest, wondering what kinds of things lived inside that would warrant such a title. Anko saw the looks on their faces as smirked. They were afraid, and rightly so. Now was a good time to begin things. "Before I explain the test," said Anko, "I need you to fill out some forms." "What kinds of forms?" asked Asuna Shinobi, wearing an outfit that made him resemble a cat with war paint on his face. "Oh, just some waivers stating that Konoha is in no way responsible if you end up dying during your time in the forest," said Anko casually. "Dying?" asked Sakura nervously. "Of course," said Anko, "it's called the Forest of Death for a reason. There's more behind these gates than just trees, there are a lot of dangerous creatures that would love to have you as a snack." Seeing that the group was now hesitating, she bared her teeth in a grin and held up the papers. "You don't have to sign the forms though, but if you don't, your test ends here and you'll be sent home." Several Junon chickened out and left, but the majority remained and signed the waivers, handing them back to the Jonin once they were done. Once everyone present had finished handing in their papers to the Chunin present, Anko stepped forward and held up 2 scrolls. "These," said Anko, "are the Heaven and Earth scrolls. All of the teams here will be given either one or the other and will be required to present both to the proctor at the end of the exam if they have any hopes of passing. In addition to the 2 scrolls being handed out, a third is hidden in various spots of the forest. You will need to collect all 3 and bring them to the tower in the center of the forest, but should you open any of the scrolls, you will be disqualified immediately. This phase will last for the next 5 days. "What?" exclaimed Choji upon hearing that. "What about food and water?" "Oh, there are plenty of edible plants and animals in the forest along with a freshwater spring," said Anko dismissively with a wave of her hand. "Just watch out for the ones that want to eat you too. This phase will test your ability at asset retrieval and protection, things that many Chunin will have to deal with on their missions. Any more questions? No? Good, let's get started." The teams lined up and were given scrolls by the Chunin proctors and told to stand by the 4 gates leading into the dark forest. Once everyone was ready, Anko snapped her fingers, causing the gates to spring open and the Junon rushed into the forest, beginning the next phase of the Chunin exams. Scene XX Team 7 ran through the forest for several minutes before they came to stop in a clearing. Naruto then made several cage bunshine that positioned themselves at points around the perimeter acting as sentries and nodded to Hinata. "Byakugan," said Hinata as she activated her Dujutsu and used it to scan the area around them. "We're safe, for now." "Good," said Sasuke, "then here's the plan." He then took out 3 normal scrolls and decorated them to look like the Earth Scroll they had received. "Should we encounter enemy teams, we'll give them one of these in exchange for safe passage until we can prepare a stronghold to serve as a base. Once we do so, we'll begin systematic excursions until we locate the remaining 2 scrolls we need." "That sounds like a good plan, Niasen," said Naruto. "We'll also need a way to identify each other if enemy shinobi use hench against us," said Sasuke. "It would have to be something that someone else wouldn't be able to copy or fake," said Hinata. "Right," said Sasuke, "maybe a code or a set of counter phrases." "Why don't we just use our Dujutsu?" asked Naruto. "I mean, they can't be copied by a hench, right?" "That apostrophe s. Actually a good idea," said Sasuke. "Hey," said Naruto, "don't sound so surprised at Tbio. It's a good plan," said Hinata, "and you're right that nobody else would be able to fake them." "Right," said Sasuke, "then let's get moving and find a good location to set up camp." Hinata nodded and reactivated her Byakugan to act as their scout as they leapt through the trees. Scene XX It was close to evening when Team 7 found a suitable campsite, a large tree with a cave built into the roots that were clear of any signs of wildlife and close enough to one of the rivers to provide them with safe access to fresh water if needed. The trio quickly got to work setting up traps and defenses around the area in order to keep out any unwanted guests and, once done, they sat down for a quick meal from their ration packs. "So," said Sasuke as he took a bite out of a protein bar, "first, let's get in a quick rest before we begin our scouting parties. Naruto, I'd like you to send out some cage bunshine to serve as scouts while we're resting so enemies won't catch us by surprise." "Right," said Naruto, "cage bunshine no jutsu." Several dozen copies of the blonde appeared in a poof of smoke that filled the area. The bunshine nodded to each other before shooting off in all directions, leaving the original with his teammates. "Once Naruto's bunshine find another team or an ocean scroll, then we head out," said Sasuke. "Who died and made you captain?" joked Naruto. "I don't know," said Sasuke with a smirk, "maybe the fact that I got better grades than you through the academy?" "Team," growled Naruto, "you know that was deliberate." "Then how about Janken?" asked Sasuke, "winner take all?" "Fine with me," said Naruto as he activated his Rinnegan. "Then let's go," said Sasuke as he activated his Sharingan. Hinata couldn't help but sigh at the antics of the two brothers as they competed. Scene XX. Meanwhile, in another part of the Forest of Death, Akuza Kunoichi smirked to herself as she stood over 3 corpses and licked her lips with a rather long tongue. "A pity," she said, "you 3 were rather disappointing. Fortunately, the one I am looking for is here as well." Leaping through the trees, the Kunoichi made several seals with her hands before coming to a stop and landing on the ground. "I look forward to our meeting, Sasuke-kun. I hope you can give me what I was unable to take from your brother," she laughed. Kushios no Jutsu. Slamming her hand into the ground, the Kunoichi smirked as a seal emerged and several massive snakes appeared in puffs of smoke. The serpents then shot off, heading to find their master's target. As Team 7 leapt through the trees of the Forest of Death, they wondered if any of their fellow Konohajinen were making progress with locating the 2 scrolls that they needed to pass the exams. Naruto had sent out several dozen clones to search for the hiding place of the Ocean Scroll while the original and his teammates scouted for other teams that would hopefully have the other scroll they needed. They had been searching for 2 days now and unfortunately, they hadn't had a lot of luck. "Damn it," sighed Naruto as the group came to a stop in a clearing near their campsite, "still nothing. I'd have thought that we'd have found something by now." "Your Bunshine haven't had any luck either?" asked Sasuke. "Not yet," said Naruto. "It's like they actually don't want us to find the 3rd scroll." "Wouldn't that defeat the purpose of the exam?" asked Hinata. "I guess," began Naruto before he felt the memories of a clone come back to him as it was dispelled. "Wait, I think one of my clones just located a scroll." The other 2 gathered around him excitedly upon hearing that news. Hopefully they would be able to get out of this forest soon. "Are you sure, Naruto?" asked Sasuke. "Well," said Naruto, "my clones found a small shrine-like structure with a box that looked big enough to hold one of the scrolls, but it was dispelled by a wild animal before it could get a good look." "Well," said Sasuke, "it's a good place to start looking. Lead the way." Naruto nodded and the 3 Genin began to leap through the trees toward where Naruto's clones had seen the possible location of their goal. Unbeknownst to them, a pair of golden eyes with slits for pupils watched them as they departed before a large serpentine shape streaked through the forest after them, keeping to the shadows as it streaked through the gloom. Scene XX. "Well," said Sasuke as the group observed their target from a distance, "this does look promising." Team 7 had traveled non-stop through the forest for nearly an hour before they came upon the shrine-like setting that Naruto's cage Bunshine had discovered. It was a small pedestal with a chest carved completely out of the same stone that made up its stand. Surrounding the shrine were 2 large scorpions that were circling dangerously. Now this made them pause for a second, because when I said the scorpions were large, I meant that each one was the size of a small car with razor-sharp claws and stingers that were covered in barbs dripping with venom. One would understand why the 3 Genin were hesitant to venture any closer. "Anyway. So what's the plan?" asked Naruto. "Just one of those things was enough to take out my clones, so I'd really rather not find out what 2 could do." "I don't think we could take both of them," said Sasuke. "Sure, we could probably incapacitate them, but I don't want to risk finding out how lethal that venom is." As if to reinforce his point, some venom dripped from one of the scorpion stingers, withering away the grass it landed on and leaving a slight burn on the dirt as it was absorbed. "Right," said Naruto, "so how do we get to the shrine then?" "Do we have to get to the shrine?" asked Hinata, causing the 2 boys to look at her. "It's kind of a given, isn't it?" said Sasuke. "We have to get past the scorpions if we want to get the scroll. We can't just whistle and call it to us." Said Hinata, "Can't Naruto can just use his Rinnegan to call the chest to us like he did to the sword in Nami no Kuni?" The woods were silent except for the legs of the scorpions and the cawing of some crows. "I am an idiot," muttered Sasuke. "Naruto, never let her go." Naruto and Hinata blushed and stammered denials before Sasuke cut them off. "We'll talk about it later," said Sasuke. "Can you get that box?" "I think so, Niazan," said Naruto. "Give me a second." Naruto reached out a hand toward the stone chest and activated his Dujutsu, feeling for the abilities he awakened in Nami no Kuni. "Banshu Tenin," said Naruto as he used the Rinnegan's power over gravity to lift the chest up and pull it toward him. At first, it seemed that everything was going to go perfectly fine, but suddenly, one of the scorpions noticed the floating chest and knocked it to the ground with a claw, causing the stone to break apart to reveal a blue scroll with the kanji Furoshin written on it. "Damn it," swore Naruto. Unfortunately, his little outburst was loud enough to catch the attention of the 2 scorpions and they turned toward the 3 Genin, hissing angrily as they snapped their pincers. "I'm so going to kill you later," grumbled Sasuke as he glared at his younger brother. "Sorry," said Naruto. "Just get the scroll," sighed Sasuke. "Right," said Naruto, "Banshu Tenin." Naruto tried to call upon the power of his Rinnegan to call the scroll to him, but was surprised and confused when the scroll didn't even wiggle on the ground. "Any time now," said Sasuke. "It's not working for some reason," protested Naruto. "Let me try again." Banshu Tenin. This time, the scroll lifted off the ground and floated over to the group, landing in Naruto's open hand. "Why didn't it work before?" asked Naruto. Before anyone could answer, however, the scorpions let out a shrill cry and began to charge at the three Genin, snapping their pincers angrily. "Run for it," yelled Sasuke, and the three members of Team 7 turned tail and ran for their lives with the scorpions right behind them. "XXY, are they still chasing us?" yelled Naruto as the three Genin ran from the scorpions. "Maybe that's part of the test?" offered Hinata as she dodged the tree root. "Test or not, we can't just keep running," said Sasuke. Suddenly, one of the scorpions that had gotten close enough shot its tail forward, aiming to impale the Genin. The three teens were barely able to twist and roll out of the way, but were quickly surrounded now that they weren't running. "Right," muttered Sasuke as he drew Kuketsuki, "new plan, we kicked their asses." "Now that," said Naruto with a smirk, "is a plan." Hinata nodded and turned to face a scorpion that was bearing down on them, getting into a Juokin stance, 8 trigrams vacuum bomb. The Hyuga heiress thrust her palm forward, sending a blast of air in the form of a vacuum shell that slammed into the large arachnid, knocking it back several feet. The scorpion reacted angrily and shot a burst of corrosive venom from its barbs at Hinata, but luckily she was saved when Naruto used his powers to pull her out of harm's way, ending with her landing in his arms. "Thank you," said Hinata before the two of them blushed and jumped apart. "Flirt later," said Sasuke as he parried a strike from her pincer with his blade. "Survive now." Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Several copies of the blonde puffed into existence and attacked the scorpion alongside Hinata while one held back and made several hand seals with the original. "Suten, Suryuden no Jutsu," said the clone before spitting out a torrent of water that took the form of a dragon. "Raiten, Jaibashi," said the original as he released a stream of lightning from his hands that struck the dragon. "Kanbai Jutsu, Razoi Ryudan." The water dragon, now charged with electricity, slammed into the first scorpion, sending it flying as the lightning fried it and the water pressure fractured its shell. Meanwhile, Sasuke had his Sharingan active and was using it to dodge the scorpion's attacks as he tried to break through its shell with his sword. He wasn't really having a lot of luck and was knocked to the ground as the scorpion's claw slashed across his shirt, knocking him to the ground with a cut on his chest. "Damn it," growled Sasuke as he touched a hand to his chest and saw the blood. He grabbed his sword and used it to push himself to his feet, not caring that the blood on his hand was dripping onto the blade until he felt a spike of chakra from the blade and the metal edge erupted with blue lightning. "What?" he said in shock before smirking. I can use this." Sasuke leapt into the air and brought his lightning-covered blade down on the carapace covering the arachnid's body, the lightning-enhanced blade piercing through this time and impaling the beast through its heart. Suddenly, the beast's tail whipped forward with the last of its strength and stabbed Sasuke through the stomach, sending him flying back as the beast went limp. "Nizan!" yelled Naruto in horror as he and Hinata rushed over. "Hang in there. Hinata-kun, is there anything we can do?" Hinata shook her head frantically. "I don't know any medical ninjutsu and the scorpion venom is spreading." "Nizan," said Naruto sadly as he began to cry. "DCH," said the Kyuubi from Naruto's mindscape, "dry your eyes, Gaki. He's not dead yet." "What do you mean?" shot back Naruto. "How can I help him?" "You forget that you bear the eyes of the Rikudo Sennin," said the Kyuubi. "As much as I dislike that human and his family's eyes, I know what it's like to lose family, so listen and listen well." "So the great Kyuubi does have a soft side," chuckled Naruto. "DCH, don't even think about it," snarled Kyuubi. "I'm still the strongest of the Bijou whose tails level mountains and caused tsunamis when they strike." "Of course," said Naruto. "Then listen carefully." Hinata watched as Naruto's eyes glazed over and she assumed he was speaking to the Kyuubi, but she wasn't sure why. She glanced at Sasuke and felt completely useless. If only she had known more about medical ninjutsu, she might have been able to help Sasuke. It wouldn't have been extremely hard to learn either, due to her Byakugan and the amount chakra control that she needed to use the Juokin techniques. No more, she resolved. Once they survived this exam, she would push herself to stop being the weak girl that her father looked at with disappointment. She would become strong so she could stand alongside her two teammates. Suddenly, Naruto's eyes morphed into the Rinnegan and he took a deep breath. Purple flames erupted on the ground behind him, from which a large stout thing, which resembled a large head decked out in semi-regal clothes, emerged. The upturned shirt collar that covered the head's mouth unbuttoned and the thing opened its maw wide. Before Hinata could say anything, Naruto picked up his brother's body and stepped into the mouth, allowing it to close behind them. Once Hinata got over her shock, she opened her mouth to call out to them, but was cut off by the mouth on the head opening to allow Naruto and Sasuke to step out unharmed. "Naruto-kun, Sasuke-san, what just happened?" asked the Hyuga heiress. "I'm glad that worked," said Naruto. "Apparently, I can summon this thing, whatever it is, to heal people if needed. Luckily, Niazan wasn't too far gone and I was able to use it on him." "You never cease to amaze, Naruto," said Sasuke. "Now let's get back to camp with this scroll." My, said a sinister voice, causing the three Jonin to spin around in surprise. "This is quite the catch. All three of the great Dujutsu right here in front of me." A kunoichi wearing the attire of a Kusagaku shinobi stepped out of the shadows wearing a smirk on her face. Team 7 was instantly on alert and slid into ready stances. "I see the three of you have procured an ocean scroll," said the kunoichi, "and since I believe you have an earth scroll already, all you need is a heaven scroll, which I happen to have right here." The kunoichi held up a white scroll with the kanji for heaven written on it, but before the Konoha team could react, she opened her mouth and swallowed it. "Now then," said the kunoichi, "I would like if the three of you came willingly, but I could make do with just harvesting your eyes for later." "Now which will it be?" "I don't know who you are," said Naruto, "but you're not taking anything from us today." Said the kunoichi, "the fine way it is then. Let's see how long you last." The kunoichi bit her thumb and slammed her hand onto the ground, causing a seal array to appear under her palm, Kushios no Jutsu. There was a large poof of smoke, and when it cleared, two large snakes were uncoiling in front of the three Jonin. "Well," said the kunoichi, "let's see if you can survive." The Jonin members of Team 7 immediately had to dodge and go on the defensive to avoid being eaten by the massive snakes that their opponent had summoned to fight them. Hinata and Sasuke found themselves being forced to hold back one of the summoned beasts while Naruto and his clones held off the other. Sasuke used his sword to keep the snake away from him while Hinata used Juuken strikes to injure it. Suddenly, they heard Naruto cry out and turned just in time to see the blonde Jonin get swallowed whole by the serpent he was fighting. "Naruto-kun," yelled out Hinata before turning to her snake and blasting it back with an 8 trigrams vacuum palm, allowing Sasuke to jump up with his sword and impale it through its head, causing it to fall to the ground dead. The two Jonin were about to rush to their comrade's aid when the snake's eyes widened in pain and a beam of light shot out of its body, cutting it open from the inside, allowing a very slimy blonde to climb out of the carcass. "Damn, that was gross," said Naruto as a third arm was retracted into his clothes. "Okay, now you're gonna pay, bitch. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's being eaten." "Kukaku," laughed the kunoichi. "What's so funny?" asked Sasuke as he gripped his sword. "It's just that," smirked the kunoichi, "you three actually think you're on my level." The kunoichi made several hand seals that blurred together before she breathed out a large blast of wind that sent Team 7 flying back several feet. "You don't seem to understand who you're dealing with," laughed the kunoichi. "No matter, I'll get what I want regardless." "I don't know what you want, lady," said Naruto, "but you're not gonna hurt my friends." "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." "Kukaku," laughed the kunoichi again, "a futile effort." "Kaden, Gokaku no Jutsu," yelled Sasuke as he spat out a large fireball that the kunoichi was forced to dodge. "Don't forget about me." "DCH," spat the kunoichi, "I would hope to not have to damage your bodies, but in truth, your eyes are all I really need." The kunoichi made several quick hand seals but was knocked out of it by several Juoken strikes to her tenketsu points. "You won't hurt my friends," said Hinata, 8 trigrams 32 bombs. Hinata struck the kunoichi's tenketsu with 32 strikes that released chakra bursts infused with futon chakra, tearing apart several of the tenketsu in her body. The teens watched as the kunoichi slumped to the ground and they felt some relief until the body twitched and a hand with pale white skin emerged from her mouth, with the body following, climbing out of the body like a snake shedding skin, only this body was one of an adult male with some snake-like features. Well, said the man in a slimy voice, "I never expected a Jonin to push me this far. So allow me to introduce myself. I am Orochimaru." "The snake Sanin," said Hinata in horror as she realized how bad the situation was. "Yes," said Orochimaru, "you've heard of me and my reputation? So let's dispense with the pleasantries and move to important business." The Sanin reached into a pouch and pulled out a scroll with the kanji for heaven, If by some miracle you defeat me, I'll give you this scroll. If not, well, you know what happens. You won't beat us," yelled Naruto. "Oh?" said Orochimaru before he narrowed his eyes, "won't I?" Suddenly the three of them were hit with an intense pressure that forced them to their knees like a great weight on their very souls. Sasuke's eyes widened as he felt raw terror fill his body and his hand unconsciously inched for his kunai pouch in an attempt to end it all right there. But a strong hand grabbing his wrist stopped him, causing him to look up and see the smirking face of his adopted brother. "What's the matter?" ground out Naruto as he struggled to rise to his feet, his Rinnegan eyes blazing, despite his body trying to curl into a ball. "You're not gonna let this bastard get us, Niizen? I know my brother isn't a coward." "Hey," said Sasuke as he also got up and activated his Sharingan, not noticing that a third Tomoe was forming in each eye. "I can't let my Itoto outclass me, now can I?" "I will fight too," said Hinata as she got up and activated her Byakugan. "Then let's go," said Naruto as he created several clones. "Entertain me," smirked Orochimaru as several of the clones charged at him with their fists ready to pummel the Sannin. The snake Sannin wasn't fazed by the number of clones, and simply thrust his arm forward, sending several venomous snakes surging from his sleeve, striking down the cage Bunshine with ease. "It's going to take more than that," said Orochimaru. "Then try this," said Sasuke, Naruto, Hinata, Formation 7. The three Genin quickly made some hand seals as they faced off against the Sannin. Orochimaru simply opted to watch, amused at their futile efforts to hinder him. "Now," yelled Sasuke, "Kaden, Gokakyu no Jutsu. Futon, Date Appa," yelled Naruto before breathing. 8 trigrams vacuum palm, said Hinata as she thrust her palm forward, sending a blast of air in the form of a vacuum shell. The wind attacks merged with Sasuke's fireball, transforming it into a roaring inferno that streaked at the Sannin that exploded upon contact with the missing nin. "I think we got him," sighed Naruto. "I wouldn't be so sure," said Sasuke, "he's a Sannin for a reason." "Quite right, Sasuke-kun," smirked Orochimaru as he appeared behind the Uchiha, "and now it's over." In shock, Naruto looked toward where the epicenter of the explosion had been and saw a partially destroyed pile of hardened mud that resembled a human body. "A Doton, Cage Bunshine is such a useful technique," said Orochimaru, "now for what I came for." Before any of them could react, the Sannin bit down on Sasuke's neck, causing him to cry out in pain, before pulling back to reveal a black mark resembling 3 Tomoe now imprinted on his skin. Orochimaru laughed and jumped back as Sasuke fell to the ground unconscious, his body twitching from the pain he was feeling. "Now," said the Sannin, "that just leaves you two." "Bastard," yelled Naruto as his Rinnegan blazed with rage and began to be tinted crimson as he unconsciously drew the Kyuubi's chakra due to his rage, causing his appearance to look more savage. "As much as I dislike that brother of yours, I hate snakes even more," growled the Kyuubi. "Tear him apart, kid." Red chakra began to bubble from Naruto's skin, forming a cloak of energy around him that had 2 fox ears and a single tail, as Naruto let out a roar that released a blast of air which forced the Sannin to take a step back. "So," said Orochimaru, "this is the power of the Kyuubi? DCH, this might be troublesome." Far away, several members of the Nara clan sneezed. "Regardless," said the Sannin, "I'll deal with you, brat." Naruto let out another roar and charged at the Sannin, aiming to impale him with his claws, but Orochimaru simply sidestepped and kneed the boy in the gut, dropping him to the ground. He immediately then dodged several Juuken strikes from Hinata and knocked her down with a back kick to her gut. Orochimaru then raised his hand, causing a small flame to sprout on each of his 5 fingers, before slamming them into Naruto's gut, where the Kyuubi's seal was placed. "Gagyo-fun," smirked Orochimaru. This action caused Naruto's chakra cloak to fizzle out before he too fell to the ground unconscious. "That leaves one," said Orochimaru before he sidestepped a kunai that was thrown at him. "Is that it?" "No," said Hinata before she vanished in a poof of smoke and replaced herself with the kunai she had thrown via Kawarimi. "This is." With a quick slash, she tore open Orochimaru's pouch, allowing her to grab his heaven scroll and jump away before he could stop her. "Impressive," said Orochimaru, "but I'll have to kill you now. It's a good thing the Byakugan would still work if I plucked it from your corpse." "That's far enough," said a voice before several Anbu appeared with their swords pointing at the snake Sannin. "You're coming with us, Orochimaru." "Oh?" said the Sannin, "you seem to be under the impression that you can force me to comply. Allow me to correct that." In a flash, Orochimaru knocked the shinobi away and used a quick shunshine to flee. "Damn it," said the Anbu, "let's go. Hokage-sama will need to hear about this." "Wait," said Hinata, "what about my teammates?" Orochimaru did something to them. I'm sorry, said Ananbu in a lion mask, we are forbidden from interfering in these exams, except for reasons like you just witnessed. We cannot offer aid or assistance to Junon teams. With that the Anbu vanished using their own sunshine, leaving Hinata alone with her unconscious teammates. Scene XX about an hour later, during which Hinata had remained vigilant in guarding her team until they would wake up, Team 7 got the help they needed. Hinata jumped up when there was a rustling in the trees around them and quickly drew a kunai while activating her Byakugan, preparing for any attack. Humph, scoffed a cold voice, so this is the true face of the main house. Pathetic. Nay he isn't? Said Hinata in surprise as three teens wearing Konoha Hitaye jumped down into the clearing. I knew you were a weakling from the start, said Neji. Please, said Hinata, my teammates need help. What happened to them? Asked a girl wearing a pink outfit with her hair tied in two buns. We were attacked by Orochimaru, said Hinata, he did something to the both of them. The snake Sanin? Said the girl in surprise, getting a nod from Hinata, what did he want with you three? He wanted our eyes, said Hinata. I see, said Neji, understanding the value of even a stolen Byakugan from the main house. Please help us, said Hinata. Of course, said a teen with a bowl cut wearing a green jumpsuit, we would be happy to. Lee, said Neji in a warning tone. Neji, said the now named Lee, they are fellow Konoha Shinobi. It would be most unyouthful if we did not offer assistance. I can't believe I'm saying this, said the girl, but I'm with Lee on this one. Besides, we already have the scrolls we need, so why not? DCH, said Neji before turning to Hinata, just don't slow us down. With that, he jumped off, leaving his teammates to pick up Naruto and Sasuke's unconscious bodies before the three of them followed after him. Hinata was currently pacing in the room Team 7 had been given in the central tower of the forest, worrying about her teammates. After Team Guy had carried her crush and his brother to the tower, they had opened the scrolls to find that they created a summoning array, which called a chunin to congratulate the Junon teams and inform them about the next phase. They were to wait in the tower until the time for the exams had expired, and when that time came, they would learn what the third and final phase of the exam entailed. Sasuke and Naruto had been quickly whisked away to be examined by the medics to determine what Orochimaru had done to them, leaving her worried and wondering how they were doing and regretting not being strong enough to protect them. It won't happen again, said Hinata softly but firmly. I won't be too weak. I'll become stronger, that's a promise. Scene XX as Naruto and Sasuke lay on two beds in a room of the tower, Hiruzen Sarutobi and Kakashi were consulting Jiraiya about the current condition of the two Junon. It seems my wayward student has perfected his cursed seal, sighed Hiruzen, and if he marked young Sasuke here, he must be after the Sharingan. It would match his style, said Jiraiya, use the Sharingan in order to learn all jutsu available. Can you remove it? Asked Kakashi, getting a shake of the head from the Toad Sage. Even though Orochimaru is still considered an amateur in the art of Fuinjutsu, it seems he has managed to turn that weakness into an annoying strength by creating this twisted and convoluted seal. From what I can tell, it forcibly draws Senjutsu energy from the surrounding area and merges it with the user, allowing for a pseudo-Senenmo transformation. Not only that, but it seems that the snake bastard managed to find a way to seal a fragment of his very soul into the curse mark. With that being said, I don't know of a way to safely remove the seal. What about Naruto-kun? Asked Hiruzen. His condition is not as serious as Sasuke, said Jiraiya, he's suffering from the after effects of Orochimaru layering a second seal over the one that houses the Kyuubi, messing up his flow of chakra. I should be able to remove it without any trouble. Do so, said the Sun Daime Hokage, once he is revived, we can see about dealing with Sasuke-kun's problem. Right, said Jiraiya as he raised a hand and caused 5 flames of chakra to sprout, one on each finger. Gagyoken. Jiraiya placed his hand onto the seal that Orochimaru had placed over Naruto's 10 tetragram seal, reversing and removing the odd-numbered seal, causing Naruto to stir. Jigi? He asked groggily when he opened his eyes before bolting up, Nihizan. Hinata-kun. That snake bastard was. It's alright, Naruto-kun, said Kakashi, Hinata managed to hold off your attacker until fellow Konoha Junon were able to get you to your goal along with your scrolls. However, Sasuke-kun is still out from what Orochimaru did to him. What happened? Asked Naruto. I saw the snake bastard bite him. Sasuke-kun was branded with a curse mark, said Jiraiya. It is a particularly twisted form of Fuinjutsu that the user can use to control or restrict the person or people branded with the mark. Is there anything you can do for him? Asked Naruto. Unfortunately no, said the Toad Sage. The mark has partially fused with his chakra network and has begun contaminating his tenketsu by absorbing nature chakra and forcing his body to assimilate it. To top it off, the bastard seems to have fused a small portion of his own soul into the seal matrix, allowing him to influence and activate the seal at will. How will that affect him, Jiraiya-sensei? Asked Naruto. The forced assimilation of nature chakra, combined with the influence of Orochimaru's soul fragment, will likely push Sasuke-kun into a darker mindset while his body is eventually altered into a more monstrous form due to the effects of nature chakra on the body, said the sage. I've been meaning to ask, said Naruto, what is nature chakra? Well, said Jiraiya, nature chakra is energy produced by every plant and animal in the world around you. Normally people don't know it's there and can't harness or mold it, but there are some that learn to absorb it into themselves. However, the process isn't without risk, and unless one can perfectly balance the chakra ratios, then their bodies will be altered until the chakra is expelled. It seems that right now, the only thing we can do is seal away the mark, said Kakashi. I think the Fujihoin would be sufficient for now. Naruto watched as the adults talked amongst themselves and wished there was something he could do to help, when suddenly he blinked and found himself face to face with the Kyuubi in his mindscape. Hey, laughed the Kitsune, looks like that brother of yours with those accursed eyes is in a bit of trouble. Shut up, growled Naruto, this is serious. So I see, smirked the fox, that seal the snake placed on him is a real piece of work. Look, said Naruto, I've got a lot going on, so why did you call me here? Tell me or I'm leaving. DCH, so impatient, muttered the Kyuubi. Fine. There might be a way you can help that brother of yours. And what would that be? Asked Naruto skeptically. Think back to the training you did with the old toad, said the Kyuubi. Flashback XX 1 week prior, Jiraiya had just watched Naruto learn how to use another of his Rinnegan's abilities, and quite frankly, it scared him. During their training, Naruto had learned several new jutsu, and unlocked one other Rinnegan ability, which the Kyuubi had called paths, the ability to absorb chakra from a person's jutsu or body through a projected invisible barrier called the Fuchatsukyuin, allowing him to block and neutralize most jutsu. But this newest technique wasn't like the others he had used. The new ability allowed Naruto to literally rip the soul out of a living being, absorbing their memories in the process. If used haphazardly, the technique was quite dangerous. Despite the advantages it had as an interrogation tool, the fact that it left the victim a corpse made it something the Toad Sage didn't want his student to use too often. Naruto, said Jiraiya, I need you to promise me that you will never use the technique unless you are absolutely sure that you know what you're doing. Yeah, said Naruto, shuddering at the memory from his cage bunshine of getting its soul ripped out. I promise, Jiraiya-sensei. Right, said Jiraiya. Now, how about I show you more jutsu? Flashback and XX. Do you really think that could work? Asked Naruto. Would you rather let that snake bastard's soul corrupt him? Asked the Kyuubi. But if it doesn't work, said Naruto. Do you have a better idea? Growled the Kyuubi. Not even that Dodningen could remove the seal and he's a master level specialist. Fine, said Naruto. But if it doesn't work, I'm using it on you next. Naruto opened his eyes and found the adults in the room glancing at him worriedly. Was it the Kyuubi again? Asked Jiraiya. He said there might be a way to help Niasen, said Naruto. Naruto, said Hiruzen, I know he's helped you in the past, but you can't trust a demon. If it means helping my brother, then I'll try, said Naruto as he walked up to Sasuke's body and placed a finger on the curse mark. Naruto wait, yelled Jiraiya as he realized what his student was doing, but he was too slow. Naruto felt the foreign presence attached to Sasuke's soul and he gripped it with Hik chakra before pulling. He drew his hand away from Sasuke's neck, pulling the foreign presence out of his body, causing Sasuke to breathe easier. Naruto, said Jiraiya angrily, you promised. Jiraiya-sensei, said Kakashi as he checked over Sasuke, he doesn't seem to be in pain anymore. He's sleeping peacefully now. Naruto-kun, said Hiruzen, what did you do? I ripped the snake bastard's soul out of the mark, said Naruto as he held his head. The influx of memories gave him a headache. Is he going to be alright? The Hokage asked Jiraiya as the seal master examined Sasuke's curse mark. The Gaki did it, said Jiraiya, the corrupting influence of the bastard's soul is gone. With the new matrix, the kid could learn to control and harness the power of this mark without having to worry about Orochimaru's influence. Excellent work, Naruto-kun, said Kakashi. I'd like to thank you, Kakashi-sensei, said Naruto as he massaged his head, but we have a big problem. The Jonin turned towards the third Hokage and gave him the most serious look the old man had ever seen on his face. Ado and Suna are planning an invasion. Naruto-kun, said Hiruzen seriously, what do you mean when you say Ado is going to invade? That is a serious accusation to make, so this had better not be a prank. I'm dead serious, Gigi, said Naruto as he rubbed his temples to ease the headache he was feeling from the influx of Orochimaru's twisted memories. When I use my human path, the technique I use to help Niasen, I absorb the memories contained in any soul that I rip out of a person's body, and when I remove the Snake Adam's soul fragment I got his memories as well. What does that have to do with Ado and Suna planning an invasion? Asked Kakashi. Orochimaru is the cage of Ado, said Naruto, and he is secretly impersonating the Kazekage after having the man assassinated. This is grave news, said Hiruzen. Naruto-kun, I am labeling this conversation a rank secret that is only to be revealed with my approval. Do you understand? Naruto nodded and Hiruzen sent the blonde off to check on Hinata so he could talk to the others in private. The three of them headed to an empty room in the tower and Jiraiya placed several privacy seals, allowing them to talk in secret. To think my former student would go so far, sighed Hiruzen, that he would orchestrate an invasion to have his vengeance. It does explain why Suna sent an obviously mentally unbalanced Jinchuriki to participate in the exams, said Kakashi as he recalled the reports submitted on the foreign contestants. They could be hoping to unleash him during the invasion. Luckily, said Jiraiya, we've had time to prepare countermeasures based on what we dug up about them. Right, said Hiruzen. Kakashi, Jiraiya, train your students, but do not inform them about the full weight of the situation. I will have the Anbu put failsafes into play to protect the village and its inhabitants while we prepare to fight. Do not let our enemies know we are onto them. We don't want them springing their trap before we finish weaving ours. Hi, Hokage-sama, said the two shinobi. Jiraiya removed the privacy seals and the group headed out to check on the arriving Shin'an. XXX Sasuke awoke the next day and he reunited with the rest of Team 7 and they told him what had happened while he was out, with Naruto leaving out the bit about the invasion of course. So this thing on my neck is some sort of seal? Said Sasuke, and it's supposed to make me stronger at the cost of my sanity? Well, I removed the part that would have made you go crazy, said Naruto, so it should be fine now. You should wait until you have supervision before testing it, said Hinata. If something goes wrong, you'll need the help. Sasuke nodded as he placed a hand on the mark branded onto his neck. So what are we supposed to do here anyway? I think we just wait until the test ends, said Hinata. Then we'll receive instructions as to what we do next. We shouldn't have to wait long, said Naruto. The exam was only supposed to be for 5 days. Just as he said that, a chunin appeared in the room via sunshine. If you would please make your way to the tower arena, then we can explain the next phase of the exams to you. Team 7 nodded and headed to the large room and saw that only 4 other teams had passed the second exam. From what they saw, the teams that passed were, Team 10, Team Guy, a team from Suna, a team from Kumo, and themselves. Apparently, Team 8 was not able to make the cut. First of all, said Hiruzen as he addressed the gathered Junon, I would like to congratulate you all for surviving this far in the chunin exams. In the days of old, shinobi would gain clients and contracts through the art of war and battle, showing their superior strength and ability in battle to reassure clients that they would get the job done. Now, in times of peace, a similar stage is needed to draw in clients for the shinobi villages, thus the chunin exams were created. The Hokage paused and let the information sink into the gathered Junon before continuing his speech. Yes, said the Sundaime Hokage, the chunin exams were created as a replacement for war, so many wealthy and influential individuals will be witnessing the next phase of the exams. The third and final part of the chunin exams is a tournament. In 1 month, all of you will gather at our village's arena where you will fight in a tournament until only one of you is left. Also note, that you will not be judged solely on your ranking in the tournament, but on your performance. If one of you shows that you have what it takes to become a chunin, you will be promoted regardless of how you fare. The Junon's faces showed eagerness at that statement and when they had quieted down, Hiruzen spoke again. Now we shall part ways, said the old monkey, use the next month wisely. We will be handing out the initial matchups now. Konoha Shinobi passed out forms with the initial tournament matchups to the Junon and they were sent off to head back to the village, leaving the Hokage alone. Anbu, said Hiruzen, causing several masked shinobi to appear. What do you need, Hokage-sama? Asked a female Anbu with long purple hair and a cat mask. I will need all of you to prepare for a special mission, said Hiruzen. I have heard from a source that Ado and Suna are going to launch an invasion of Konoha sometime soon. I need you to confirm these rumors and if proven true, I need you to prepare the countermeasures put in place to protect the civilians. We cannot let Oto or Suna know that we are aware of their schemes, so this will be in ranked secret. If I find out someone here has divulged said secret, I will personally see to their execution. Do I make myself clear? Hi, Hokage-sama, said the assembled shinobi as before they vanished in a sunshine. Now, said Hiruzen as he stood up straight and cracked his spine to loosen up, perhaps I should prepare as well. If anyone were to enter the Forest of Death within the next few weeks, they would know that, without any doubts in their mind, Hiruzen Sarutobi's title God of Shinobi was well earned indeed. Scene XX. After Team 7 arrived back in the village proper, they met up with Kakashi at their usual training ground. The trio was surprised to find the gray-haired Jonin already waiting for them when they arrived and eyed him suspiciously. "Alright," said Naruto, "who are you and what have you done with Kakashi-sensei?" "Don't worry," said Kakashi, "it's me." "I don't know," said Sasuke with a smirk, "Kakashi-sensei is never on time for anything. I'd bet on him being late to his own funeral." "I don't think he's been on time for meetings either," added Hinata. "I wonder if he was late to his promotion?" mused Naruto. The three Jonin chuckled when their sensei silently walked over to the training posts and sulked, a black cloud forming over his crouched form as he drew circles in the dirt. Once they felt the joke had run its course, they decided to ask the question that had been on their minds. "Anyo, Kakashi-sensei," said Hinata, "we were wondering, who will be training us for the next part of the exams?" "Well," said Kakashi as he got out of his slump, "since I'm the only shinobi of Konoha with a Sharingan other than Sasuke-kun here, I would be training him in the use of it, along with some jutsu and kenjutsu tips as well. You Hinata, could do well learning some new jutsu and skills to add to your repertoire, so I've called in some favors to help with that. As for you Naruto, you'll be continuing with your instruction from Jiraiya-sama." Upon seeing his students' determined looks, Kakashi gave them a sincere smile, or what passed for one with his mouth hidden. "I want you three to know how proud I am. You three have become one of the best teams of Jonin I have ever seen, comparable with the Sannin, the team trained by the Hokage himself, so I expect one thing in the upcoming exam. Win. Show the village and all others attending the skill of Team 7. "Hi, Kakashi-sensei," said the three Jonin. "Excellent," said Kakashi, "now, how about we go out to eat at Ichiraku Ramen to celebrate?" "My treat." "Yada!" cheered Naruto, "maybe I'll finally beat your record, Hinata-kun." "We'll see, Naruto-kun," giggled Hinata at the antics of her crush. "I think the record was 20-14 in her favor," mused Sasuke. "I'm not sure that I care for ramen as much as you do, but their tomato ramen with okaka is quite good." Kakashi chuckled as he watched his students head off and tried not to think of the impact this dinner would put on his monthly budget. He was indeed proud of them, and he knew they would do well. In fact, perhaps he should make a few extra wagers on them in the betting pool going around the chunin and jonin regarding the outcome of the exams. He might be able to pay for this entire meal with the winnings. With a smile, the masked jonin headed after his team in a light jog. After all, he liked Ichiraku too. Scene XX. The next day, Naruto headed to Training Ground 3 where Jiraiya was going to be meeting him to go over his training for the next portion of the exams. When he arrived, he saw the old sage standing there with a bag packed full of scrolls. "Jiraiya-sensei," said Naruto, "are you going somewhere?" "As a matter of fact Gaki," said the toad sage, "we're both going on a little trip." "Why?" asked Naruto, "shouldn't we be training instead? I need to be ready for the next part of the exams." "Don't worry," said Jiraiya, "we're still gonna train. It's just that the training that I have in mind might have a good deal of collateral damage involved, so we're gonna be camping out just past the village outskirts while I make sure you're strong enough to take on whomever challenges you in the battles to come." "I'll need to grab my things," said Naruto. "Not a problem," said Jiraiya, "I already grabbed all the supplies the both of us will need for this extended outing. So, let's get going while the day is young. The sooner we arrive, the sooner we can begin." "Right," said Naruto before he followed the older shinobi as he led the blonde toward the village gate. "So," said Naruto as he and Jiraiya walked, "where are we going Jiraiya-sensei?" "We've been traveling for almost a day and a half now." "We're almost there Gaki," said Jiraiya, "the training we are going to do is potentially destructive, and I want to limit the collateral damage." "What kind of training are we gonna be doing?" asked Naruto. "Something special and unique," said Jiraiya, "if it works, it will give you a distinct edge over many of your opponents." "We're here." Naruto looked up and saw that they were standing at the mouth of a large rocky plain that was devoid of both flora and fauna and was surrounded on all sides by mountains, forming a natural wall around the area. "What are we gonna do here?" asked Naruto. "Well Gaki," said Jiraiya, "here is where we're gonna train you to better control and use the Kyuubi's chakra." Naruto just stared at the Toad Sage in shock. To think the man was going to help him harness and use the Kyuubi's power was surprising to say the least. Not that he was reluctant though, he remembered the power boost he had gotten in the Forest of Death. In hindsight, that was probably due to the Kyuubi's chakra, and if so, he wondered what it would be like if he could use that strength at will. "You're right about that," said the Kyuubi from within Naruto's seal, "with my power, you could make your enemies tremble." "Awesome," said Naruto, "so how do we start?" Jiraiya led the boy to the center of the valley and created 5 cage bunshine that moved to the edges of the plain and made several hand seals before slamming their hands onto the ground, creating a sealing array that would contain any chakra they release and keep it in the valley. "Right," said Jiraiya, "first of all, I'm going to need to talk to the Kyuubi." Naruto nodded and closed his eyes, passing partial control of his body over to the Bijou, allowing it to have access to his eyes and vocal cords. "What is it you want, Toad Ningen?" asked the Kyuubi as his crimson eyes replaced Naruto's blue ones. "Look," said Jiraiya, "I don't trust you. You attacked my home. Twice. But regardless of that, you seem to have Naruto's continued health as a priority. I'd like to know why." "DCH," grunted the Kyuubi, "if you must know, he reminds me of someone that my father told me would one day appear when I was a kid. I think the brat might be the one who will change things." "I see," said Jiraiya. "Now," said the fox, "what exactly do you want from me? I know you didn't ask the Gaki to let me talk just so you could question my motivations." "True," said Jiraiya, "since I'm gonna be teaching Naruto to use your power, I'm going to need to loosen the seal, and I want you to know this, if you even think about using this opportunity to escape, I'll lock the seal so tight that you won't even be able to imagine what the outside world is like." "Hey," smirked the Kyuubi, "don't worry. The Gaki has my interest and I've decided to stick with him for a while longer. I won't try to escape, and I know you can easily seal me away if I try to. Just one thing, don't threaten me again, Ningen. Ever." Jiraiya nodded and the Bijou returned control over to his host, causing the blonde Uzumaki to blink and look around. "What did you want to talk to the Kyuubi about, sensei?" he asked. "Just something regarding your training," said Jiraiya. "Now I'll need you to show me your seal, Naruto-kun." Naruto lifted up his shirt and channeled chakra to his stomach, causing the Uzumaki sealing array to appear on his skin. Jiraiya then channeled chakra to his fingertips and placed his hand onto the seal. "Now this might hurt a bit," said Jiraiya before twisting his hand, causing the seal, binding the Kyuubi's chakra to loosen itself, allowing the Bijou chakra to surge through the Jonin's body. Naruto hunched over as he was enveloped by a bright crimson aura and his features became more animalistic, with his whiskers becoming more pronounced and his teeth and fingernails becoming sharper. The blonde threw back his head and let out a roar as a shockwave of chakra was released from his body that caused Jiraiya to slide backwards as his sandals dug into the dirt. "Gaki?" he said warily, "You alright?" "It feels like I have a dozen Raiten jutsu pumping through my veins," breathed Naruto as he opened his eyes to reveal crimson irises with vulpine pupils. "This power's incredible." "Okay," said the Toad Sage, "now I'm going to need you to rein in that power. I know it feels amazing, but you're going to need to control it if you want to use it." Naruto nodded and the oppressive aura of chakra was drawn back into his body, allowing the Sannin to breathe easier and walk closer to his student. "Okay," said Jiraiya, "I'm going to be teaching you a few powerful jutsu, and considering the boost to your reserves the Kyuubi is now giving you, you should be able to handle them." "Awesome," exclaimed Naruto. "What do we start with?" "Well," said Jiraiya, "we're going to be starting with a special jutsu that was created and refined by the Yondaime Hokage himself." "You're going to teach me the Hiraishin?" exclaimed Naruto. "No," said Jiraiya, causing the blonde to pout, "besides, the Yondaime didn't create that technique. The Nidaime invented the Hiraishin. No, the jutsu I'm going to be teaching you first is something the Yondaime created all on his own. It's an ranked jutsu that combines chakra control, rotation, and containment into a single package." The Toad Sage held out his hand and a sphere of spiraling, twisting, chakra appeared in his palm. "Rasengan," he yelled as he slammed the sphere into the ground, creating an explosion of dust and debris. When the dust cleared, a large crater could be seen carved into the ground under the sage's feet. "That was awesome," yelled Naruto. "I'm gonna learn to do that? What do I have to do first?" Jiraiya tossed Naruto a water balloon and couldn't help but chuckle at the incredulous look his student sent at him. "The first step is to pop that water balloon by spinning the water using your chakra," said Jiraiya. "Once you can do so, then we'll move on to step 2. I recommend creating several cage bunshine to work on that while I work on other jutsu with you." Okay, said Naruto, what are we gonna learn first? Well, said Jiraiya, your brother uses a sword in combat, so I'm going to teach you a way to make a sword of your own. Jiraiya drew a kunai and exhaled onto it, creating a shimmering blade of futon chakra around it, resembling a scimitar. This is the futon, Shinkuchen, said the sage, and it's the first of many techniques that I'll be teaching you. Scene XX. While Naruto was training with Jiraiya, one of his other teammates was going through some intense training of her own. Hinata stood motionless in the center of a clearing with her eyes closed as she regulated her breathing, before she opened them and activated her Byakugan. She then quickly channeled futon chakra to her palms and swung her arms around her as she used her flexibility to bend and twist her body, allowing her to cut through several blunt shuriken that had been launched at her from varying angles and vectors. As she came to a stop, the weapons fell to the ground around her, all of them having been sliced cleanly in half by the thin blades of chakra she had been emitting. Excellent work, daughter, said Hiyashi Hyuga from where he was stood watching his daughter train. Atu-sama, said Hinata as she rose from her stance and gave a respectful bow to her father. That is an interesting form you have developed, he stated as he looked over the pieces of the training weapons. You've combined futon chakra with a more fluid version of our Juoken techniques. Forgive me if I have overstepped my bounds, said Hinata as she bowed to her father. No, said Hiyashi, surprising Hinata, it is an ingenious adaptation of our original Juoken forms. It allows for one to flow around an opponent's attacks and land strikes that can physically damage the chakra network and tenketsu of the opponent. Thank you, Atu-sama, said Hinata. May I offer assistance in refining this art? He asked his daughter with a rare smile. Yes, said Hinata in surprise, that would be appreciated. Hiyashi smiled as he and his eldest daughter got to work. She had been showing much promise since she had met her teammates. His only regret was that he would one day have to pit her and her sister against each other to determine which would be branded as a branch family member. Perhaps it was time to look into some loopholes. It had been 2 weeks since Naruto had begun training with the Toad Sage, and, while not making a lot of progress with the Rasengan, he had learned several new jutsu from the Sannin. Still though, he was thoroughly frustrated at his "Ga!" groaned Naruto as the balloon in his hands popped again. I'll never get this. I wouldn't get too discouraged, said Jiraiya, even with your bunshine, I didn't expect you to complete the first 2 stages of the technique in 2 weeks. Besides, the third step is by far the most difficult, so it's only natural that you're struggling. Don't forget that you're making great progress with the jutsu I've shown you and your control over the Kyuubi's chakra is getting much better. Seeing that Naruto was still looking despondent, the Sannin chuckled, how about I help you think up a strategy for your next opponent? He offered. Getting a nod from his student, Jiraiya sat himself on the ground and motioned for Naruto to do the same. So, who's your opponent? Well, said Naruto as he pulled out the flyer with the first round matchups, according to this, I'm facing some kunoichi from Kumo named Samui. Said Jiraiya, Kumonin tend to specialize in Raiden ninjutsu, with the occasional Kenjutsu specialist thrown in the mix. Suten and Doden jutsu should be avoided, but futon techniques will be quite helpful. What about the fox's chakra? Asked Naruto, couldn't I use that to fight too? The old sage shook his head, I wouldn't recommend it for several reasons. First, it would tip your hand too soon, and that could hurt your chances of making chunin in later rounds. Second, it might send the wrong message to the villagers that still think having the Kyuubi stuck in you makes you a walking paper bomb. We don't want to fan any flames we don't have to. Then what should I do? Asked Naruto. Try to keep your distance, said Jiraiya. Use that near-limitless ocean of chakra you possess to bombard her with several of the long-range jutsu I showed you. If she gets close, then channel elemental chakra to your kunai like I taught you. Also, don't be afraid to abuse the cage bunshine. Pretty much everyone knows about your skill with it, so it's practically your signature move, so showing it off too much shouldn't hurt your chances of making the cut. I can do that, said Naruto. Also, said Jiraiya, don't reveal your Rinnegan unless it's absolutely necessary. And even then, don't showcase all of your abilities. Why not? Asked Naruto. If the fact that you possess the eyes of the Sage of Six Paths gets out, said Jiraiya, then there will be a lot of unwanted attention on you. People might decide to risk another Hyuga incident in order to obtain your Dujutsu. I thought we were supposed to show off in this phase of the exam? Asked Naruto. You are, said Jiraiya, but only to a certain extent. Your goal is to show the proctors that you are ready to become chunin. Not just in terms of strength, but in terms of tactical thinking as well. Showing all your best moves in round 1 would actually hurt your chances, even if you make it to the finals. So I need to show that I have a chunin level brain? Asked Naruto. In a sense, said Jiraiya as he chuckled at his student's choice of words. Alright then, said Naruto, I'm gonna show them that I can be the best chunin there is. Bio. The Toad Sage chuckled at hearing his student's verbal tick, remembering another Uzumaki that had a similar verbal tick, before getting to his feet. Well, said the Sannin as he clapped his hands, let's get back to work with your training. You could still improve on the jutsu I've showed you and your chakra control still needs some work. Not to mention that you've yet to finish learning the Rasengan. Yosh, said Naruto, let's get to it. Jiraiya chuckled, just wait Gaki, you won't be as eager once we really get started. Scene XX. Meanwhile, while Jiraiya had been training Naruto, Sasuke was going through his own intense training regimen with Kakashi in a secluded area. Again, said Kakashi as he knocked Sasuke to the ground. Sasuke grit his teeth as he pulled himself to his feet, feeling the strain on his body from the few ninjutsu training bands Yugao had given him. Once he was standing again, he pushed the tiredness out of his mind and got into a fighting stance again. Kakashi had been pushing him to work his strength, stamina, and speed by sparring with the Chunin while he wore his weights, which Kakashi had increased in power as well. The results were quite promising. Sasuke had improved with leaps and bounds, and that was with his weight still restricting his movement. Kakashi had also taught him some jutsu and a few tricks to use with his Sharingan, hoping to better prepare the boy for his upcoming matches. Kakashi watched as Sasuke spat at him, never coming directly at him, thank you Yugao, swinging his practice sword at his head. The Jonin didn't even flinch and simply blocked the attack and aimed a kick at Sasuke's midsection. Luckily, Kakashi had Sasuke keep his Sharingan active, and with the improvements to his reaction time that this training had been providing, Sasuke was able to quickly use a Kawarimi and replace himself with a log before reappearing behind the Jonin with a kick aimed at him. As skilled as Sasuke was, Kakashi was still leagues ahead of him and Sasuke soon found himself flat on his back with the gray-haired Jonin's foot on his chest. Excellent effort, said Kakashi as he helped the boy to his feet, I can tell that the training Yugao's been giving you has been helping. Sasuke opted not to answer in favor of catching his breath and Kakashi offered him a water bottle. The thankful Chunin quickly drank half of it and poured the rest over his head to cool off. Pulling out the flyer with the first round matchups on it from somewhere, and looked it over. For your first match, you know who your opponent will be, said Kakashi, but the results of your matches to follow will be determined by the skills of the other combatants. Therefore, you're going to be training until you're ready to face any one of them, including Naruto. Yeah, said Sasuke as he caught his breath, no doubt that he'll win his match. I just have to make sure to win mine so we can see who's stronger. Kakashi nodded, well, first you'll have to beat your upcoming opponent. It looks like you'll be facing off against Rock Lee, the protege of the Jonin Taijutsu specialist, my guy, which is why we're focusing a good amount of your training on improving your physical abilities. From what I've seen of Guy's fighting style, having him get in close is a double-edged sword. On one hand, he's too close to avoid your jutsu, but on the other, you're close enough for him to beat you to a pulp. If what I've seen of his style reflects on his students, then you'll need to be ready for a tough fight. Am I allowed to remove my weights? Asked Sasuke. Yes, said Kakashi, but don't do so unless you can't keep up, even with your Sharingan. Right, said Sasuke with a tired nod. Now, said Kakashi, you won't only be facing Lee, so let's see what kinds of jutsu I can teach you. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.